Welcome to the Black Gay History Channel. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel for more captivating content. OMG, I'm finally getting into the House of Dragons action fantasy series, and I was pleasantly surprised that in the first few episodes we were introduced to a prominent black gay character in the storyline. Now, for those of you who haven't gotten into the Game of Thrones TV series, you may be unaware of these epic TV shows from HBO. Now, some spoilers lie ahead, but I'll try to do my best to be as vague as possible while describing why it's so important this character is in the show in the first place. Plus, I'm only halfway through the first season, so I truly don't even know how this story arc is going to play out. But considering the nature of this series being about family drama, interpersonal betrayals, and war, there's a good chance our good prince isn't making it out of this series in a peaceful way. House of Dragons is a new spin-off series of the hit TV show Game of Thrones, and for friends of mine who hadn't seen it yet, I told them that basically the Game of Thrones series is the best Dungeons & Dragons TV show in television history. With knights and princesses, secret magic priestesses, and even dragons, Game of Thrones made Dungeons & Dragons very realistic with sex, gore, and epic horror. And it's not just me and the fans. Critics agree. Game of Thrones was critically acclaimed and won numerous Emmys throughout the years too. Now, I'm no royal, as far as I know. Yet the drama in Game of Thrones felt so real and relatable, and I'm thoroughly pleased that House of Dragons has me just as hooked as Game of Thrones did. Plus, Game of Thrones had several epic queer and gay characters, but there were no black gay characters throughout Game of Thrones. And finally, in the House of Dragons, an extended prequel to Game of Thrones, we are finally getting just that. Now, I'm no fool. I think the creators and Hollywood in general is realizing black gay men and black LGBTQ people in general love sci-fi and fantasy. There's great black gay vloggers besides myself who review sci-fi fantasy series like Avatar Adrian or The Black Gay Comic Geek. So I'm sure these writers and execs are getting the message and creating characters like us. And now we have Prince Laenor of the House of Velaryon. House of Dragons, like Game of Thrones, is all about the powerful throne that rules the Seven Kingdoms in an ancient medieval land called Westeros. That is not so subtly just like what we know of ancient medieval Europe. And in this series, the powerful Targaryen king and his dynasty have ruled the Seven Kingdoms for generations, especially because their family has intertwined their fates with dragons, and they're one of the few humans and families that can train or ride them. And because of that, they rule the Seven Kingdoms as long as they keep their dragons strong and in check. The second family that is closely related to dragon lore and can also ride dragons are the Velaryons, including our Prince Laenor. Now, it's my theory that all the major houses in this cinematic universe represent a real European country or family, and I think the Targaryens represent the ancient Romans. So it makes total sense to me that they are closely related to the Velaryons, a mostly black family, because in my theory, the Velaryons would represent the royal Egyptian families that moved to Europe when Egypt was still a global world power. This show mostly focuses on the Targaryens, particularly Princess Rhaenyra, a spunky young woman whose ailing father rules the Seven Kingdoms and is hell-bent on having male heirs to secure his family's legacy on the throne. Though Rhaenyra is his eldest and she can ride a dragon, a rare royal feat, Rhaenyra is forced to focus on marriage and finding a suitable husband because the Seven Kingdoms would never kneel to a woman to rule them all. Enter Prince Laenor, a young man her age who she befriends and who comes from a house closely related to and allied with her own, the Velaryons. It's not long before Rhaenyra realizes that not only does she not really have any attraction for her betrothed, he has none for her either. I thought it was a poignant moment when Prince Laenor's father, Corlys Velaryon, and his mother, Rhaenys Targaryen, are discussing their young son's marriage prospects, and his mother softly tells her husband, "You know the boy's nature," and his black father responds saying, "He will go out of it." I think this scene was so poignant because though this series is set likely 1,000 years ago, fathers today are still keeping these toxic masculine tropes alive with their kids in 2025. That intimacy between men is something that happens in youth. Which also makes you wonder, what was Corlys up to when he was younger that he believes this is something his son will outgrow? As soon as I saw the young prince with Princess Rhaenyra, I knew immediately he was a gay character and I was jumping for joy. In the first season and the third episode, Prince Laenor not only begins to form an alliance with the princess, He expresses his true feelings for fear of having to marry a woman with his actual boyfriend, Joffrey Lonmouth, a knight in the court of the House of Velaryon. Another fun fact about Laenor that I missed or haven't yet seen is that he too owns and rides a dragon named Sea Smoke, so I hope we get to see the prince in action on the battlefield. Without giving too much away, heartbreak ensues when Princess Rhaenyra falls for a knight in secret, and the two complicated couples try to hide their relationship ties before their wedding. But emotions reach a boiling point when Joffrey threatens another knight on behalf of his lover, Prince Laenor. Joffrey is killed in a massive brawl that breaks out at their wedding party, and the prince bitterly grieves his lover, with those in the court clearly picking up on the fact that Laenor loved Joffrey more than just a friend. Laenor goes on to marry the princess and raise her children as his own, but the drama that could break up the Targaryen family for good is the fact that many people in the court over the years begin to realize that her children aren't fathered by the gay prince Laenor, but Princess Rhaenyra's knight and true love, Harwin Strong. What will happen to this blended and progressive gay family if their secret gets out? Princess Rhaenyra knows about Laenor's lovers, and obviously he knows the kids aren't his, but he still has raised them as his own with the real father, Harwin, nearby. But if other people finally figure out their family secret, it could take down the entire Targaryen family. I'm excited where all this drama could lead. Shout out to British actors John Macmillan and Theo Nate on playing this groundbreaking gay character in the series. Y'all did a great job. And I love that we're finally getting more black and gay characters in my favorite fantasy TV series. Stay tuned for more reviews of the House of Dragons, and we will have to see how the story plays out with our beloved Prince Laenor.